This is Jackie, and I am here with Chloe Stroll. Last month, you released your debut album, Bloom in the Break. How does
Hi.
the track Home represent your overall sound? I know it's your favorite.
Ooh, it is my favorite. You know what? I think that it was really funny because I think that it represents like my heart and soul, like my really true heart and soul, and all the tracks do, and all of the album does come from an extremely vulnerable place. But when I wrote Home, I was 8.5, or I was 6 months pregnant when I wrote it. I was 8.5 months when I recorded it and finished producing it. And it not to say it, but it really hit home for me. And I remember sitting in the studio in London and listening to the final kind of mix that we had all agreed on. And I was just bawling. I was crying so much. And I was like, this is exactly where I am. This is truly how I feel in this moment, that I am creating this new home and I'm bringing life into the world. And my husband and I are going to create a baby and a family. And it hit home.
There are so many ways that is such a sounding like a great metaphor. The video for it is also very beautiful and has this very I wouldn't call it subtle because I think it's semi overt, like wedding bridal uh, undertones or feel to it. Who came up with the treatment for the music video?
So I did. And it's really funny because when I was a little girl, I was always like a Disney girl at heart. I still am, let's be very clear. But when I was younger, I really was like obsessed with all the Disney princesses. I would jump in the pool and pretend to be Ariel. And then I would try on my mom's wedding dress that she kept in like the closet upstairs. And I would walk around and be like, I'm Cinderella. And I related to really those like super fun princess, very girly, very romantic. I'm a hopeless romantic. Like, and that was so my personality, and that's really who I am. So when I wrote the song and when I came up with the concept of the album, I wanted it to be so authentically me that I wanted it to be very girly, romantic, feminine. And it was the juxtaposition of that girl in my mind and wearing the beautiful dress and spinning around, the beautiful rooms and all of that, and feeling that princess feeling, as well as then who I really am, which is me at home in my jeans and my t-shirt and walking around. And that was how we visualized home.
Nice. What role do you feel music videos play in 2025? We don't have MTV anymore, that's been retired. But you're a new artist putting out music. So, where do music videos fit for you?
I think that music videos are really important because I think it gives you an even better look at what the artist is thinking and how they're visualizing their art and their work. And so for me, it gives you a more in-depth look at the story of a song. And I think that's just really, really important.
I read somewhere that you wrote over 70 songs for this album.
It's been a
What
long
kind of time
journey.
frame? What kind of time frame? Because
No, it's
that's outstanding.
over 5 years. I've had 5 years, which I think is a fair amount. And yeah, I really honed in at the end to try and create the first album. And I hope I've picked well. I hope everybody loves it, but I'm definitely very proud of the songs that have come out of it.
As someone who deals with decision paralysis, if you give me more than three options, I will choose none of them or all of them. How do you edit down to just an album size?
So I did that first, and then I walked away, and then I got upset, and then I went through all the emotions and all the feelings. But I think what at least kept me going through mine was, I don't know what it was, but at the time that the album started coming, and I didn't look at the songs, I was like, okay, what do I want to say? What message do I want to convey in my first album? And I kept having this image of this beautiful flower, and my favorite flowers are peonies. So I pictured a peony kind of blooming through this broken glass, this broken vase. And it doesn't make it any less beautiful. It makes it even more beautiful. It makes it unique in its own way, and it really reflects, I think, us as humans, where you go through obstacles, we all have flaws, we've all gone through something. But I think that that doesn't make you stop blooming. It doesn't make you less beautiful. In fact, it makes you more beautiful. So, with that North Star of wanting to make sure that when people heard this album, they felt understood, they didn't feel alone, and I wanted that imagery really throughout it all, then I started picking songs and started saying, okay, what is conveying this message? And if you don't, you're out.
You know what? That makes a lot more sense, and especially when you have that big collection, I think having a specific focus in which to kind of, put the blinders on for your editing is great.
Let's be clear, there were hours of listening to me, which I don't, I mean, I'm very proud of my songs, but constantly listening to your voice is not always fun. And there was hours and hours and hours and hours, like, where you just drown yourself. But I'm glad with how it went. I'm glad with how it came out. And I don't think I would change it today.
That's good. Not to stress you out again, or to make you have to stress out again, but what happens to the other songs that didn't make it?
There's definitely a pile of songs that I still love that have not come out yet. And I really do hope that they will make it into the next project. And there are plans at some point to release them, whether it's singles, whether it's in the next project. So I keep them for me, and I will keep them guarded, and I'll still keep writing. So we'll see how we go.
Good to know they haven't vanished forever.
They haven't vanished. No, they're still there.
And having written about 70 songs in 5 years, I feel like, no pressure. This should be a good, easy question. Do you feel it's more cathartic in the songwriting process or the performing?
Honestly, it's a bit of both. I think the only time you get a little freedom from your emotion is in the production process. I think that when you write these songs, and for me specifically, I want to make sure that I really capture the emotion that you feel. And if you take a song like You're Okay, which is about grief and loss and sadness, but also a bit of a silver lining, for me, it was about my grandma and my experience losing her. And so I really went to relive those moments. And that was tough, and it was sad. And there was a part of me, and that was how I came up with those lyrics. And then you have to find them again when you perform, because I want to evoke as much emotion as I can in that performance, bar crying on stage. So it ebbs and flows.
And speaking of ebbing and flowing, the album is not one note for sure. It feels like there are nods to many different genres. What do you attribute that to?
A very happy accident. It's not how I planned it. I think that, again, it really went into like only look. I had written so much. I had explored different genres. I had explored different parts of my voice, different feelings, and what resonated with me. And again, when I went back into that process of trying to narrow it down, what was the message? Don't listen to like, oh, well, this doesn't fit with that, or this doesn't fit. We can figure out the puzzle later, but what conveys the right message? So it was much more about the storytelling in that for me. And here we ended with a bunch of different ones.
And you collaborated with several producers. How do you feel your music benefited from that collaboration?
I think it was great because I love collaborating. I find that I go into a very dark hole by myself of just like the spinning wind tunnel that you just can't seem to take yourself out of. So I think that collaborating with different producers to have different sounds and even just to bounce back different ideas. I could be thinking one thing completely, and they could say one word or play one note or just change the perspective. And all of a sudden you ended up with maybe a different song or a different sound, but in the end, it was the right way to go. Or I would say something if they were trying to go some way. So I think that it gave the album a lot of shape and a lot of really cool different perspectives.
Now, you mentioned Cinderella and the Little Mermaid before. I noticed that there is a lot of like water and water imagery. That's kind of a motif. Was that intentional or just something that kind of happened along the way?
It's definitely intentional. For me, when I was growing up, my favorite class was always English literature, and I loved symbolism, and I loved kind of exploring what it meant. And I think for me, water has always been something that I've adored. Like my parents always told me, like, you're such a beach baby. I could be in the ocean for hours and hours and never come out. And so, something that can create life and death and love and is continuous, I think it is so I'm so drawn to it. So I definitely explore it a lot in my songs.
So, what goals do you have for this album? I'm sure you have lots of big ones, but let's talk in the next couple of months. We'll break it down.
You know, I made this album really, music has been there for me my whole life. Whether it's been the best of times, the worst of times, the saddest of times. Um, it's been my best friend. It's, you're happy, you play a song that makes you want to dance. You're sad, you play a song that makes you want to cry. And I wanted this album to really be a friend to someone. And whatever you feel in that moment, you're not alone. Your struggle is not on you by yourself. The music is here, I'm here. And I really do hope, if you're asking me what my goal is, that that is what it has done for someone.
I think that's a beautiful message. So, what's up next for you in the next couple of months as far as playing live or doing other things?
Well, I'm hoping to play a couple other live shows and gigs. I just did one now in New York, which was really, really fun. So, I mean, I hope to kind of just continue on this journey. I hope people keep loving this album, and I hope to just keep moving forward.
Excellent. Well, be sure to check out Bloom in the Break by Chloe Stroll. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having